Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. I am Coach Lori Anne, America's #1 take action success coach and strategist, empowering, educating, inspiring, and igniting people to take action with jet propulsion, assisting people to find and embrace their life purpose, live their highest vision, become the best version of you, and forge a strong foundation to soar to success. Find more information about how to work with me and my team. Visit us at ldcstrategies.com or coachlorianne.com. Welcome to the show on Healthy Lifestyle. We are going to give you some verbal caffeine to light you up with possibilities. Today on the show, we have Meredith Kaminek. She is from her studio in central Pennsylvania. Yes, Pennsylvania, to a creek in the woods and the beaches of Long Island. And she just covers everywhere. She has cultivated her career as a professional portrait photographer since 1992. Don't do math. Connecting with people to photograph more than what they look like, but who they are, has always been her true passion that paralleled her to her artistic eye. Feeling a similar connection with nature, Meredith also has branched out with natural photography to share her perspective on how everyday life and our seemingly extraordinarily beautiful surroundings are genuine gifts. Oh, heaven, yes, yes, they are. And so long as you take the time to take a look at it that way, it is such an asset, and it is art. We are surrounded and live in art. As she found it, Meredith published her hardcover book, which is a collection of her photographs of nature untouched, coupled with simple thoughts and inspirations that she has written. Please welcome to the show, Meredith. Meredith, so happy to have you on.
Hey, thank you for having me today.
I love it. I love having you on. So we found each other through this group that we're both part of, which is called Latip International, and it's a networking organization. And I reached out to you, and our energies just immediately connected for a number of reasons. And now I even understand more. The reasons why is because connected in nature is very important to me. Being connected with Mother Earth, being connected to ourselves is so important. And then for you as a photographer to be able to connect with the human, to capture who they really are. You know, I've seen some pictures, and some pictures are all right, they're nice, but they're not energized. But when I see your pictures, I feel like I'm there. And how did you get into photography? How do you have this amazing talent? Because this is your superpower, my girl.
When I was a little girl, my mom took a black and white course in Mineola, and I had an interest then. So she bought me a 110 point and shoot so I could do what she's doing. And I turned a hobby into a career in my early 20s. So
It's amazing how we influence our kids because
Mhm.
my oldest son I used to take him down to the theater, and he was playing video games, and the lighting director said, "Can he do a spotlight?" Because he was short a guy. And I was like, I don't know. Does it have crosshairs on it? Because everything that he's playing has crosshairs. He goes, as a matter of fact, it does. I was like, then he'll be perfect. And he ended up being one of the best spotlighters. He could actually, there's this technique where you pin spot, which means you start the spot very, very tight, and then you open it up. And to
Mhm.
be on someone's face, you have to be dead dog accurate. He was amazing. But again, he had been playing those video games. So for all you parents listening, there are applications because he now works in the industry. He does not only lighting, he does fireworks, but he also does stage production. So there is a future if your children are playing a lot of video games. Not that I recommend it, but it did have application. But the same thing, he was influenced by the surroundings I brought him to, and you were influenced by your mom. How do you think your mom feels when she knows that there was that influence there?
She loved it. She loves my work. She had some larger images of my natural photography in her home, which is lovely. She just loved to look at them. So,
Yeah, you've been a professional photographer for over 30 years, right? And you do
yeah.
have the two businesses under one umbrella, which I love because we grow empires, right, girl?
Mhm.
So one is you're hired to do shoots, and the other is your natural photography as art. So we want to separate those and talk about both because I think they're both very yummy. But I want to start with asking you, you have a very specific eye, and you have a very unique, different perspective than most. Let's talk about that.
Well, everything is energy, and I connect in with that. It's so beautiful to be out in nature. I also have a studio, so I work with lighting as well. But I see who you are. I see your original spark. So right there, you go through all the layers of insecurities and connect with the person or the subject in a way that they've never been before. So it's a wonderful thing when you're out in nature playing, then you can feel free on the inside and the outside, and the you who you are really shines.
That's so funny that you say that. When any time I do a photo shoot and they want to bring me into studio, I'm like, no, can we do it outside?
Like
And I
play
just feel more
outside.
comfortable outside. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love the natural lighting. I think it's better. And I love just the surroundings. It gives, and I guess it's energetic. I never thought of it that way. That
Hmm.
energetic exchange is definitely there with being outside. And 9 times out of 10, if it's a shot higher than my ankles, my shoes are off.
Yeah, me too. I'll introduce myself with them on and then they're off. That's it. I'm
Yeah.
well known for being the barefoot photographer.
Oh,
So
that's great. I love that. You should market that. That's a great branding. Barefoot photographer. That's really good. I also love that you say this, and it made me laugh when I was reading your materials, that you photograph in nouns, people, places, and things.
yes.
That's hysterical. That's hysterical, but so true, right? You do, yeah, you photograph families, children, pets, graduates, business. You do photo shots, you do lifestyle shots, right? You do
Yes.
branding shots. Yeah, and do you do most of it outside? Do you do part in studio, part outside? Because I know some things are better to do inside. Like if I'm taking a desk shot, it has to be inside. As
Right.
much as I'd like it to be outside. But they frown upon me dragging desks out of buildings and stuff.
Well, that could be fun too. Put a desk in the middle of a field.
Yeah, so me. That would be so me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would have to be a wooden desk. Anyway, another conversation another day. But so what's your process when somebody comes to you?
So when I initially have a phone call, I ask questions, lots and lots of questions. What do you have in mind? What are you using these images for? Um, what story would you like to tell? Because you want to integrate all of those things into the images. And so if we're indoors, of course, I'll bring my lights. I can take them anywhere, make a studio anywhere, or you can come into my own studio. Or if we're playing outside, I find a nice shady, even light spot so that the light is more forgiving than the harsh shadows or too much sun.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's really about the story they want to tell. It's about what they have in mind is always the first question I ask on the phone, and again when I meet them in person, because it's important to consider what they're using it for. I don't just take over and say, you're going to do this. I really want to know what your ideas are as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So important because I know when I go into photo shoots, I have certain shots that I know I need to have, but
Mhm.
otherwise I leave it up to the creativity. And I prefer that informal look. I don't like posed looks
Yeah.
because it's posed. I like the natural being caught in the middle. Most of the time, photographers I work with make me laugh, like you make me laugh. So that's great because you want the natural smile, the natural laugh, that the crinkled up eyes and things like that. I love that. My girlfriend, she's like, "Do you want to get Botox and stuff like that?" I'm like, "No, I earned every single one of these lines next to
That's
my eyes.
right.
I'm keeping those because those are smile lines and I love them."
Yeah.
It's really funny, but I do love that. I thought another thing that I found out about you, which I thought not only intriguing, but I was like, "Oh gosh, you used to take." Photographs, aerial photographs from actual helicopters
Yeah.
before drones came in.
Yeah.
How wild is that? Where did you do that? How did you do
It
that? How
was
crazy is that? The
so
thought that you
awesome.
want to
I
grow up.
miss it. And I was shooting film at the time. So it wasn't like I could photograph something and check my work. I had to shoot it correctly. So that sets me apart right there.
Yeah.
A lot of others like shoot and then fix it, and I shoot it correctly. So I made friends with a guy who had a helicopter. He got calls for aerial photography, and so did I. So every time we just called each other, and it was a blast.
Oh my gosh,
Get the
that is so.
doors off, and I'm hanging out. It was
Oh
awesome.
my gosh, are you strapped in or?
Yeah,
Oh my
of
gosh, yeah.
course.
No, no, I'd be so on the ground. So on the ground. Oh my gosh. So in your next life, are you going to be like a stunt person for movies?
That or a pilot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love that. Now you use drones to do that?
I don't use drones. Other people do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
not good at that.
I
And
got
that's fine. That's somebody is really well versed in something like that. Let
you.
them.
Yeah. We all have our superpowers and we know our strengths and we know our weaknesses, which are just strengths we have in practice. That's all. So
Mhm.
weakness is not a bad thing. I want to say that again. A weakness is not a
No.
bad thing. It's just something we have in practice as much as we did our strengths. So, big football players, famous basketball players, famous performers didn't come out the first time out of the gate and do it right. They had to practice and study and keep doing it. And the same thing with this. You do a regular publication, right? I believe you photograph for monthly scenes for a local town planner.
So our local town planner is a calendar that is given out to 77,000 residents in central Pennsylvania. So each month of the calendar, I have my natural photography.
Oh,
Yes, and the cover. So it brings joy to people's lives every month, as well as does some advertising for our local community.
Oh, that's so nice. And I love that too, because our country is gorgeous. I've been fortunate enough that I've been traveling around a lot, and I'm so in love with America. I'm so in love with our country. It's so beautiful. We have so many assets and so many amazing humans that I do enjoy the traveling, but for you to be able
Mhm.
to capture that and share it for those who may not be able to get out and around, it's beautiful. And I would love you to share some of that with us so that we can share it with the listeners. We'll have all information down. So we'll send all of your links, Meredith, will be associated with this episode so that our listeners will be able to check out your work.
Thank
Um,
you.
you've done shots for the covers of, and this is near and dear to me because I am a singer, I'm a musician. I come from a musical family. My dad was a musician, my mom was a musician. The Pennsylvania Musicians Magazine
Correct.
in 2008. I'm like, yep, yep, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. So
I did
what's
that
your
for
put on that
7 years. It was amazing. I every band is different and they play different music. So we would go to different locations and just have a whole lot of fun.
from 2008 to 2015? You used to photograph all the bands.
Yes,
Oh,
for the
love it.
cover.
Love it, love it, love it. And also the Parents Magazine, Central Penn Parents Magazine. You're like a rock star. I need your autograph. Forget this. So you do the Parents Magazine, and what do you do in that? And that's from 96 to 2002. You've been all over magazines. You're just really well published. How did you get involved with that? Your children's pictures and things like that, family shots?
Yes, somebody reached out to me from the magazine and we hit it off and I photographed all of the covers for a good bit. And it was great. Like I could bring in a model or they could bring one in as well. And we just would plan it every month.
Gosh, and you've done images for billboards, publications, business branding, marketing, yearly staff portraits. Yes, yearly staff portraits. Let me say that again. Yearly staff portraits. We look different every year for organizations and businesses. That's really good. Real important to update that. So that brings me to this question that every time I bring it up, because I'm curious about this, every photographer gets that look on their face, which is how is it? How different is it for someone to take a selfie versus someone to have a professional photograph? Oh, there's that look. Like, I hate this question. I
Selfies
say
are
selfie to a
not the best.
photographer. Yes, I say selfie to a photographer. They're like, cringe.
First of all, angle and lighting is
Too
everything.
close. Too close. I'm like, back up.
Yeah, I don't mind close, but it's got to be well done. And the board on your phone, let's say, is this big, and one
Like an
on your,
inch.
yep, and one on your camera may be this big, but on
That's what
mine,
it is. Yeah.
it's this big. So you want a large format image so that you can pack a punch. It's important to have really nice photographs for your business portraits. And when you keep them up to date, it's wonderful because you're doing new things in your business. You may even have new staff that you need to include. And you want to bake that energy into what you're doing and refreshen and make things more alive for the projects you're doing.
Yeah.
So when you have new business portraits, it's important in that way.
Especially if you're in an industry where you do proposals and you're including photographs of the team who will be working on that particular project. So as a former project manager, it was important for me to have updated. I don't want somebody to show up at a meeting or show up on site and nobody knows who they are. They're already in the proposal. They already know who they are. They've already met them and they look exactly like their pictures. And also, I selfies have its place without a doubt. And I think it's a great thing that came up that we can do those selfies. But also remember, they're smaller, they get pixelated. That the pixelation is when it's all fuzzy, it's not really crystal clear. I think a picture is crystal clear. And then I'll give it to a professional like you, and you're like, oh my God, it's fuzzy. And I'm like, really? It doesn't look fuzzy to me. And you're like, it's really fuzzy. And then you blow it up, and I'm like, oh, it is fuzzy, but I don't have the eye for it. So I think it's in your industry that you have to have really, really good eyesight in order to be able to see the difference between a really good crystal clear, like the photo, if you're watching this episode, the photo behind you, Meredith, is so poppy crystal that it almost looks like I'm standing in it. It's like an HD version of it. So and I love everything about that. But a selfie or an outdated headshot, how does that seem? It's unprofessional, right? And doesn't it give the viewer a different perspective of you?
Yes, it sure does. It feels like, oh, that's what they look like, or they didn't take the time to invest in themselves to have a nice updated headshot. It's a wonderful thing when you're working with others, especially because they'll recognize you. They'll already feel like they know you. People
Yeah.
are shopping in their jammy pants. So if they're looking on your website and you have an outdated portrait, or like you have a beard and now you don't, when you meet them in person, if you're all glammed out on your website, but you're doing a talk and you're not as glammed up and you show up as you don't have that same connection. So people energetically connect with an image, and people are also less apt to throw away a business card if your face is on it.
Yes.
Just don't throw away a face. So that's a cool little tidbit when you're redoing your business cards. Put your business portrait on there and it won't get thrown away.
Yes, it's not just for real estate people anymore. Matter of fact, this is my business card, and I do, in fact, have a picture of myself on it. So,
Wonderful.
and it was really funny. Not only does that, but it also has a texture to it, so it stands out. It's thicker, and I have a QR code. So I have all those wonderful things on my business card, and I do recommend it. But we know that people put their pictures, especially if they're in real estate, their pictures on it because you're going to meet them. Well, the same thing. So I recently went on it was a women's empowerment seminar, right? And I was one of the speakers, and the person putting it together was the MC. And I had been working over the phone with her, and we got on day of, and she looked 200% different than her pictures. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And I'm like, I didn't even know who she was. So
Mhm.
I was like, oh, is so and so going to be coming on? And they were like, I am her. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was so embarrassed, but she didn't look anything like the photographs that she had. So there's an immediate disconnect that as soon as if you've gotten connected through the internet, if you've had conversations, telephone conversations, your picture shows up on iPhones now. You really want to look like you are. And even if you're glammed up, you should still look like who you are. It's kind of like your wedding. It goes back to the weddings. They always say, you
Mhm.
have those fancy hair designs and stuff like that. You never wear that.
Right.
So yeah, so because I look entirely different with straight hair than I do with my curly hair or this hair today. My hair does whatever it wants, and today it decided to do this. It's not pretty. But for those who can't see me, you're lucky. But anyway, it's really important to keep that natural look, right?
Yes.
Because we're perfectly perfect the way we are.
Yes, and you beam your light from the inside. I mean, of course,
Yes.
we view your outside, but the light comes from within.
You're absolutely right. The light comes from within. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne on JVC Broadcasting and iHeartRadio. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with the great Meredith. She's going to teach us a little bit about photography, some insider tricks and of the trade, and also we can connect a little further with Meredith. We will be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. I am Coach Lori Anne, America's #1 Take Action Success Coach and Strategist. And if you would like to be a guest, lift up your business, product, or not-for-profit, or if you have a question or comment, please email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. That's healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. We will answer all of your questions. We love your questions, so bring them in. And if you have an idea of who you would like to be on or you know someone, send them to us. We will get them back on the show. Welcome back. In the meantime, we are speaking to Meredith. Meredith is this wonderful photographer. She's located down in Pennsylvania, but doesn't mean she doesn't travel around. And she can help with your photography. And she also does nature pictures, which I think is a really nice subset of the things that she does. But Meredith, welcome back, by the way. We were talking before the break about taking selfies and doing things like that and the benefits of quality photography. But how about, and this is I actually have a photo shoot coming up. I don't like them. I get really nervous. I get uncomfortable. I start thinking about stuff. I don't like looking at the pictures afterwards. It literally takes me weeks before I can pick out pictures that I'm not ripping myself apart. And being a coach who says, be nice to yourself, I forget sometimes to be nice to myself. And it's like, look at this and look at that. And this could be, what do you do? What do you say? How do we break through this?
I would like to meet the first person who was insecure about having their portrait taken and have a good talking to, because that's generational. We've all been taught that.
Yes.
It definitely is. So when people go to have their portrait taken, they come to me and, they're looking away from the camera or futzing with their hair, and they don't want to do it because they're feeling vulnerable. And there's a comfortability in your vulnerability. You just have to find it. So when I explain to my clients, hey, show up as you, dress as you normally do, all you have to do is show up. The rest is my job. And they just hand over the day. And
Yes.
it's just beautiful. Now, sometimes I get a cookie that's tough to crack. And so I'll take a few and then I'll show them the back of my camera and say, do you really want to do, this on your business card or on your website? Stick my tongue out. They'll do everything but a cartwheel. And just to feel comfortable in what we're doing, just like how you and I are having a conversation right now, we're doing the same thing, but I have a camera in my hand.
Yeah, yeah. So I know I feel most comfortable when my photographer talks to me and
Yes.
asks me questions, and then we start joking around, and that puts me in that natural mood. And now I'm not thinking about the fact that I'm getting even though the camera's facing at me, and I'm not exactly a shy person. One wouldn't label me that. If you first met me, you'd be like, no, not shy. I have my moments, but not often. And I do like being in front of people. Shocker. I have a radio show, a TV show. Yeah, maybe. That's not it. It's just the thought of the capture of that and then looking at them and scrutinizing over them and all that. So being with someone like yourself who sparks me up, You smile from your eyes. We make eye contact. Now we're starting a conversation, and you're like, "Yeah, just do blah blah." Okay. And I
Uh-huh.
love getting directions. Oh, you want me to do this? Okay, I could do that. You want me to do this? Because we're not professionals. We don't do this every day and have that walk. I mean, I can pretend that walk, but it's going to come across as pretending because that's what it is. I'm just playing. Um, but do you get into like making your subjects, if you will, laugh, and how do you make them feel comfortable, and what should they do when they go? Like, what should their expectation is? Because everybody's not like you. You're like, the second I started talking with you, I could take photos with you because I know you make me feel comfortable. I was like, okay, I'm good.
So I ask a lot of questions like, what kind of music do you listen to? Anything that's not in the room, really, or out in the field. Like, if they have family or pets, and I talk to them about like, what kind of dog do you have? And, just make it really comfortable.
Yeah. Are you looking
And
for something that lights them up, that sparks them, and then you can actually see it, and that's how you capture it?
yes,
It's like
yeah.
you asked me to talk about my pup. I'm on fire. I love my pup.
See, your eyes just lit right up, so it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so true. So that's what you're going for. That's what you're looking for in a photographer. What do people look for? So there's many photographers, good, bad, and ugly, if you will. Just like there's good, bad, and ugly in coaches. You really want a coach who has a coach. So with a photographer, what should they look for other than, of course, you, Meredith, because they should just come to you. But
Well, first I would look at their images and make sure the style of imagery is something that suits your style. And or if it's not, maybe they have something that they can show you that would suit more of what you're looking for. The personality of the person you're working with is important as well. Yeah, there are a lot of techie photographers that don't have a spark like we do.
yes.
And that's okay. Their work is very different. But I would definitely check out the imagery first and make sure that it's a style that clicks with your message.
Yeah, and that it connects with you, that you can connect with the pictures. Yeah, I look for the energy in the pictures. That's really important because that's what I want to capture. I want when someone sees the picture, I want them to feel like they're invited in and that they're seeing how much fun. I mean, I love what I do, and I want them to see that I love what I do.
Yes.
And the same thing, people should look for that. How important is it to include? So my pop that you met just recently, Missy is my vice president of emotional support for my company. So she is my emotional support. And I actually have her on my site, and I have her on my literature as the vice president of emotional support, which brings smiles to people's faces. But how important it is to have your pets in your family portraits, just a switch from business to family.
Oh, pets are family too. So
Yeah.
they absolutely belong in your family portrait. Even in your staff portrait, if you have a staff and you bring your pets to work, they work too.
Yeah.
So you don't have your pets forever and you love them so much. So you want to document where they were in your life as often as possible.
Yeah, I actually have a story with this is that I had I have a client who I counseled and made some recommendations when she was building her website. So she's a therapist, but she would always allow you to bring your dogs or your animal, your favorite animal with you if you wanted to, no big deal. And she always had her pup there. And so I was like, you should put that on your website. She goes, well, I can't put my clients on the website. I said, I didn't say that. You should put them on your website with you. And she's like, oh, because that one associates the clients with the pups or the she has horses on there, she has dogs on there, she has cats on there. And believe it or not, her website got killed. Her website got slammed with people to the point where she couldn't take all the people who came in because it was instantaneous connection with people who
Mhm.
are so connected with their babies who are happen to be fur babies of some sort or another. So I'm just contemplating whether or not I should take pictures with my chickens. I'm not sure. I'm still out on that.
You could. That could be fun for marketing pieces.
Right, right. So yeah, my three chicks, named after both of my Nicks and my partner's Nick. They named them Who, What, and I Don't Know. Yes, after the comedy. Yeah. So can you imagine me outside calling after them? Who, what? I don't know. My neighbors think I'm nuts. So, but they answer to it, so it's okay. Do you have any stories of how you really get people to be comfortable? You know, a story of before and after where you got somebody who came in and they basically had body rigor mortis when they were standing there getting their pictures taken to when, you know, after how you softened them up. Do you have any stories about that?
I do. This is a good example. There's a client of mine in the Hamptons. She is an interior designer, and so she's all about things looking just so. And I totally get that because she does a fantastic job. But she's like, I need a new headshot. And she made an appointment and then called to cancel it because she wasn't ready and she wanted to get her hair blown out. And okay, so we rescheduled it. I'm there every 4 to 6 weeks. So she knew I'd be back. And so we made it again. This happened 4 times. And there was something, I'm like, just show up as you are. Don't do anything. Don't do a blowout unless you wear your hair like that all the time. She had a little wave to her hair, so I knew better. And so she went into the city, and there was an author that she went to see. And on her book jacket and marketing materials, the woman was glammed, like over glammed, which, okay, we get that. But when she showed up to speak, she looked like she just got off the bus. So it's not the same person. And
Oh,
it hit her like a ton of bricks. That's what Meredith was talking about. So she called me the next day. She goes, I'm ready. Let's do it. So we went to one of the kitchens that she had redone, and it was gorgeous. And she went through her own insecurities again in the moment. We all do in the beginning.
yeah.
And I'm like, just go plain. Less is more. Less makeup is more. You don't want to overdo it, especially outside. Just be yourself. And we had a blast. She wound up having too hard of a time choosing which ones she loved better. So
Oh,
that made me feel great, but I'm really happy that it clicked within her to understand, I don't have to be as vulnerable. I am beautiful the way I am. You know, you
yeah.
don't need to dress it all up. Just be yourself.
Yeah, and also from a marketing perspective, especially today, real, genuine, that really is more approachable. It makes us all more approachable to be able to look at somebody else and be like, I could be like that. I could do that because we're connected. Otherwise, if everything is perfect, it's like, well, they seem better. It's a mindset, right? It's definitely a mindset. And I suffer from the same vulnerability because it's like, okay, the camera doesn't lie, literally. So you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? What about this? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you have the right photographer, they're going to be able to capture your image in the best way possible at the best angles. Don't worry about which side is good, which side isn't good. They got you, right? You got us.
Of course we do.
Yeah, yeah.
I keep a little ladder in my car because sometimes I'm short. So sometimes I need a little bit of height to get a better angle. Or I'll lay on the ground to get a different angle. It just depends on what story we're trying to tell.
Yeah.
But if you, for example, look down, you could get some neck stuff happening, and nobody likes that. So the idea is to stretch out, lean forward, and then bring it down. And then you don't have that.
Oh, stretch out, lean forward, then bend down. All right, I love that. Need that. That's good. Yeah,
That works for
I love that.
selfies too.
Yeah, that's so good. It kind of reminds me of that my big fat Greek wedding when all the women stand behind each other and like grab their necks and pull it back as they take
Yes.
1, 2, 3, and they pull. That cracks me up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting to that point where I feel like I need to do that. So not that vanity is involved, but it's also about, vulnerability and security and having those photos out there. And listen, I have some great photos out there and I have some, oh my God, photos out there, and it is what it is, but it's me. So
Mhm.
it is what it is. And that's a really good thing.
And
Um,
what it is beautiful.
oh yeah, thank
You
you.
know,
It is, and I love it when I see the natural version of everyone because everyone is just so gorgeous in their own right, right?
yes.
It's so nice that you get to capture that. How much do you love what you do?
I love what I do. I absolutely adore every moment of it. Not so much the editing side, which I don't edit a whole lot because I shoot correctly, but the interacting with people and playing outside, oh, it's just glorious. And it's great because when you take people out of their everyday and you're out in the middle of a field or in the woods or in a creek or even in a town, that helps with their vulnerability too, because now they're not in a familiar place. And it's like they surrender to whatever's going to happen. And
Yeah.
to watch them pop open is my favorite because once they're on board, we can have all kinds of fun.
How long does it typically take someone to like for you to get someone to just relax and break through?
Minutes.
Minutes.
Mhm.
Oh, you're magic. You're just
Yes.
magic. That's so I put it, I use essential oil called surrender so that I can surrender and hand myself over to the photographer and just trust. We need to trust that they're going to take the good photographs and we're going to, enjoy the session together. And I can see that it's minutes because seconds in speaking to you, I'm like, this is a new bestie for me. I can tell because we have that definite connection with each other. So I want to ask you for two things. Of course, when I do this show, I always ask our guests to do takeaways because I am the take action success coach, right? So what can if someone's going to get their photographs, professional photographs or portraits done, what should they look for? What is it that they can take action to do so that they can get it done and not have that moment of canceling? Because canceling is a justifiable excuse to postpone. Don't procrastinate, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I would definitely, like I said, look through imagery online, check out different websites, maybe get some ideas of what you would like to do. But keep in mind, whatever you see isn't going to be exactly what you're going to look like because that's them and their location, and you're you in this one.
Right.
Um, Less is more as far as what to wear, no patterns. Solids are always best because especially out in nature, when you're out in nature, every leaf on the tree, every rock in the creek, every blade of grass is a pattern. So if you're wearing a pattern, you're adding more pattern to your image. And your mind goes to what you're wearing, what's behind you, and then you. Whereas if you wear solid top, your eyes go straight to the person and then you look at where they are. It's a psychological thing, but I'm telling you, you just want to keep it simple. You want you to be the subject, not what you're wearing.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of questions should they ask photographers? Now I've looked at the pictures, I connected with the photos. What should I be asking them?
Ask how they operate, like what they offer in product. That's important to know ahead of time. How long it would
What do
take.
you mean by offering product?
Oh, there are some shoot and burn photographers out there that are fly by night and they take off, they just dump and run. You want somebody that's going to hold your hand through the process. Whether it's choosing them, like, sit with them and go through your images together. That's how I do it. I'm old school, so, I started my business shooting film. So I would have paper proofs, and I never broke away from that because when you do a session, you're really connecting with somebody, and now you have a bond. And then to show your work and help them choose, like if this image would be better for an 8x10 or a 5x7 or, business card. You don't want something too far away or too close. I'm right there to ask the questions.
Yeah,
You can also have them to compare next to each other. You can hold them next to each other.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's a wonderful thing. And then when their portraits come in, I hand them their package with a smile. So you want to know, do they sell the digital images? Some do not. I don't let a digital image leave my studio without a print because prints are super important. One solar flare, one blown up laptop or phone, your kid's childhood could be gone in imagery. So it's important to, even if they're on your phone, please make prints. I don't care if you go to a local drugstore and do it. It's better if you have another place, but just always have prints, put them in an album, leave them in a drawer or a box, but because once they're gone, they're gone.
I have a friend who does actual albums. She puts together albums and also photo boxes. So do you do that?
Yes.
Yeah, those are photo boxes are amazing. I got a photo box. She actually gifted one to me. I converted all of my slides from my childhood to digital. And then she goes, but you need to print these, just what you said.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's a lot of prints. And she goes, well, I did this for you as a gift to you because I give her business. And it's amazing. I look through it all the time. I keep it on my coffee table and I open up the box and it's just like a walk back in my childhood of some very germane photos throughout the years and selected them out. How great is that?
Yes. My
Right?
mom got these plastic clear magnets that you slip a photograph into, and she had them all over the refrigerator. And they were pictures of us as kids or something recent, all over the place. And she would slip them in and out and change it up. So it was like a moving gallery.
Amazing. One last takeaway. What can somebody do right now with their selfies? Give a really good professional hint. Pro tip.
Oh, I would definitely watch your angle, watch your lighting, and if you tap your subject, that becomes in focus. So that way it's not focusing on something that you don't want it to focus
Yes,
on.
yes, yes. You tap the screen and it focuses right in that. So I love the angle tip that you gave. That's awesome. And I love the everything that you said today. Meredith, you are amazing. I can't wait till you're back in town. I know you come back on Long Island every few weeks. So got to let me know when you're in town. We need to do this again, bring more tips, more photos to everybody, let everybody know where your website is.
Through meredithseyes.com.
Through meredithseyes.com. Information will be with this episode. Meredith, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity. This is wonderful.
Love connecting with you. Love sharing your yumminess and your superpower. Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. I hope we have earned the privilege of your time. Again, I want to thank our guest, Meredith, and look for our show next Saturday at 3 p.m. on JVC Broadcasting and iHeartRadio. We can also be found on all major platforms and would be so amazingly grateful if you please like, follow, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I am Coach Lori Anne, America's #1 Take Action Success Coach and Strategist. Let your dreams be bigger than your fears. Let your life be filled with joy. Play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big. Have a great week, everyone.